All right. Shalom, everyone. I'm Brother Doug. I'm here trying out this Ring Central app. I wanted to see how it's gonna go. I thought a perfect test for this would be to show you guys. This is gonna be a part two of the video I did. Hold on a second. Let me just put a hat on. My hair's a mess. Okay. All right. All right. Much better. All right. So this is gonna be a part two to a video I called about a week or so ago that I called what I used to study. Now this is the Apocrypha, full 15 books of the Apocrypha by Tom Horn. Okay, it's known as the Researcher's Library of Ancient Texts, Volume 1. The Volume 2 is the Septuagint that he does the English translation from the Bretons. So this Volume 1, as you can see here, it says it includes Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees in this Apocrypha. So just to read off the books it has here, okay, you got Enoch, Jasher, Jubilees, 3rd and 4th Ezra, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Sirach, Baruch, Susanna, which, by the way, was originally part of chapter 13 of Daniel. And let's see here, you got Prayer of Azariah, which was originally, part of chapter 3, verse 23 of Daniel. It was like a whole prayer of Azariah's when they were in the furnace that was originally attached to verse 23 of chapter 3 of Daniel. Prayer of Manasseh, okay, Bel and the Dragon, which was chapter 14 of Daniel. And the letter to the Laodiceans, which I haven't even read yet. It's probably pretty interesting to see since the Council of Laodicea was the reason that the Book of Enoch today is not in our canon. So I would be pretty interested to see what it talks about in the in the book of the Laodiceans, if there's anything snitching on them in that book, so to speak. Okay, all right, and so for our brothers and sisters that want a Apocrypha that's not too expensive, this was about $20. I mean, you get like 15, 16 books, okay? It's a lot better than paying for a Sefer, okay? All right, so this book I've been looking into. I really like a lot of the contents. Really, I think possibly a portion of this book used to be scripture, originally was scripture, specifically chapter 3 and chapter 4 of this book, known as the Ascension of Isaiah. And this translation is done by R.H. Charles from the Ge'ez into English. And actually, this is a parallel Ge'ez, Ethiopian, and English side by side parallel. It's almost like technically like an interlinear. I think I only paid like $10 for this or something. Find this on Amazon. You can find the Researchers of Library of Ancient Texts, Volume 1, which I just showed you on Amazon too. I'll be giving you guys those links. So I recommend this too. And by the way, if you just want to get the Book of Enoch separate, Tom Horn has a translation of Enoch separately, I think for $20-something, or it might even be $18 on sale right now, a hardcover of Enoch. So also you can get Enoch if you want to get it for free. I can give you guys the link for the free one. There's a PDF, a Hallelujah Scriptures PDF for the Book of Enoch, a free version of it you can get in PDF format and use it on programs like Acrobat Reader and Kindle on Amazon. So this is another book I really like, that's Pseudopigrapha. So basically what I showed you, the Ascension of Isaiah, the copy I have of, is a Pseudopigrapha book that's not even in the category of the Apocrypha. It's actually in an external category called the Pseudopigrapha. And let's see here. Now, this is another book I've been looking into, which is known as the Apocalypse of Abraham. And like I said, the Ascension of Isaiah I do not claim is inspired. I think, in my opinion, I believe at least chapter 3 and 4, that those contents of those specific chapters of that whole book possibly could have been inspired at one point. And I'll explain why at the end of this video, why I think those two chapters within the 13 chapters of that whole book. Those two specific chapters could have been inspired, and in my opinion, but the whole book itself is not inspired. There are contradictions in it. Which eventually I want to do a study with the fellowship about what books of the Apocrypha, Pseudopigrapha I think are inspired, and what books I would be careful to not to take doctrine from. So the Ascension of Isaiah, for the most part, it seems like a decent apocryphal book and nothing really too off, except there are certain verses where either the translator is inserting stuff into the text that wasn't there in the original Ethiopian, or there's some there's some mainstream Christian influence in the translation. That's what I'm trying to say. With trying to insert a Trinity and all that. So that's why I don't believe the whole book of Ascension of Isaiah is inspired. So another book, people that want to look into the Pseudopigrapha, what I would recommend and what I used to study, this particular translation from George Herbert Box of the Apocalypse of Abraham. Honestly, comparing this to the book I just talked about, I would really recommend this. A lot of this book is legit. A lot of it's legit. Unfortunately, there's one major contradiction that pretty much stopped me from accepting it being inspired, was the fact that it combines Azazel and Satan as the same person, which would actually contradict the Book of Enoch, which I believe there's more than enough proof that the Book of Enoch's inspired. So even if you test this against Enoch, it contradicts Enoch. So the Apocalypse of Abraham does have a lot of good stuff. It has even prophecies about Yahusha and about he would be kissed on the cheek and stuff like that, and that Satan would kiss him on the cheek and worship him. The problem is that in this book it calls Satan Azazel, so it confuses the reader, makes the reader think that Azazel and Satan is the same person, which is not true. According to Enoch, and even according to the canon, I can show you guys that in Scripture that there's definitely Satan's never called Azazel in the canon, and he's never called Azazel. He is never called Azazel in Enoch. So Enoch and the canon would actually agree with one another on this topic versus the Apocalypse of Abraham. So the Apocalypse of Abraham overall, I would say 80% of it is legit, except for that one main contradiction. And there's a lot of good stuff in it. There seems to be even extra biblical confirmation that Yahusha is the angel of Yahuwah in this book. Okay, so there's a lot of good stuff in this book. So I would say the only reason I wouldn't put this on the same level as Enoch or as the 66 books we know today as the Bible is because of that one major contradiction. So unfortunately, this is good if you want to look for extra study, for extra information, maybe some connections. It does confirm that what my theory was. It did confirm my theory on who the four living creatures are. So there is some good stuff in this. There's a lot of beneficial stuff in this that parallels the canon. Like I said, that one major contradiction is why I would not say this is inspired and that we can take doctrine from this. So unfortunately, if it wasn't for that one major contradiction, I would say this is scripture. So it was very close. It was a very gray area with this book. Whether I would consider it inspired or not. It came very close, and only because of that one major contradiction. So, if that wasn't there, I would definitely consider it inspired. So anyway, so those are the books I would recommend you guys get if you guys want to look into the Pseudopigrapha. I would not recommend checking it into every book of the Pseudopigrapha. There are books that I would not touch with a 10-foot pole. If you want to look into the Pseudopigrapha and you don't want to waste a lot of money, there's also free versions of the Pseudopigrapha. If you have Amazon Prime, sometimes they'll give you books on Kindle. You can read it for free. So I would recommend that. But like I said, the Tom Horn's Researcher's Library of Ancient Texts Volume 1, I really recommend for those that want to check out the Apocrypha but don't want to pay like $150 for a Bible, and waste money on a Sefer. So anyway, I hope this video helps you guys out. I really just wanted to make it brief because pretty much the part one touched on all the translations of scripture I have. So I mean, that pretty much touched on everything. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Yeah. So that's what I would recommend. So I'm probably going to name this study, not even study, more of a video, more of a informational video. What I recommend for studying the Apocrypha. So, thank you for those that will be seeing this on YouTube and Facebook. So I hope this helped. Hope this clears up some things and some questions you might have about the extra biblical books. All right, so see you later. All right, hold on. How do I stop the recording here? Is there? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure this out here. Why can't I?